No, not Lizzie. I reckon she'll be back today or tonight. Maybe even tomorrow, but no longer than that.
Well, the screws will have to let us out then. I mean, after all, the evidence will walk through the main gate.
Yeah. I wonder why they won't believe that she's gone. They're being so bloody stupid.
Yeah. At least we've had some lunch. We won't starve for a while. But the way they're going, I don't think they'll give us any dinner.
Well, they better, or there'll be big trouble.
Me?
What do you want?
I want to know what's going on.
Don't the screws tell you anything?
They think that Lizzie's hiding somewhere.
Well, they're wrong. Lizzie's gone, and I don't know where or how.
This isn't a scheme to get the classes stopped again, is it?
Oh, you're getting lonely, are you? You don't really think I'd go to all this trouble just to stop the classes, do you?
I wasn't sure.
Well, it's about time you understood that we'll keep coming to classes as long as we like it or we can see the point in it, or as long as the screws let us. And if we decide not to, you'll be the first to know.
All right, B, I don't want to get into a row over it.
Yeah, well, the point is that Lizzie's missing and no one's got a clue where she is. And you can tell Mrs. Davidson that. Keeping us locked up in here is not going to help anyone find Lizzie.
Well, I can't promise anything, but I'll see what I can do. You know, it's rather hard to believe that an old lady like that could escape on her own.
Mr. Andrews, what do you think you're doing here? This isn't part of your area.
I wasn't aware that I shouldn't be here.
You are not a prison officer and you are unaccompanied.
I see.
There's a meeting in Mrs. Davidson's office. She wants you there. Oh, and I wouldn't believe anything Smith tells you.
The ever-efficient Vera Bennett.
Well, time for afternoon tea, I reckon.
Oh, I sometimes wonder what it would be like to have a nice, simple 9-to-5 job in an office or shop.
You'd die of boredom.
I'm not so sure.
Oh, I think we're all a bit like that at times. The place gets to us after a while.
You mean we love the place so much we can't bear to go home?
Well, not exactly. It's more like having the responsibility to do the job. It's not the sort of thing everyone can do.
Yes, like mislaying an old lady.
Well, nobody's perfect.
I'm sorry I'm late. I had trouble locating Mr. Andrews.
Let's get started, shall we? I'm sure we're all agreed it's most unlikely that Birdsworth has left the prison.
Well, there's no obvious means of escape. I've had the perimeter thoroughly checked. All the ladders are accounted for. She didn't go over the fence. The gate guards only allowed authorised visitors through, and no one reported anything out of the ordinary.
Yes, and I checked the waste bins before they were emptied.
Have you checked the truck? The number of times that I've read of a prisoner clinging to the underside of a van to escape.
Yes, well, I bet it wasn't a 72-year-old woman who's had 2 heart attacks.
Have there been any deliveries today?
No, I've checked that.
Or what about Birdsworth's movements? Where was she last seen?
Well, after David's class. She helped him carry some pots to the car.
You gave permission?
Yeah, I didn't see any harm in it.
She did walk back through the gates. I saw her myself.
Yeah, Bill was on the gate. He remembers letting her through.
Well, the blind spot seems to be reception. No one seems to remember her returning through there.
Well, if you ask me, the problem is simple. Birdsworth is still on the premises, being hidden by the women. A full-scale search will soon unearth her.
No, with the women locked in their cells, she'll have to come out eventually.
Well, that's what the women want. They can laze in their cells for days. It's all part of their plan.
Oh, come on, Vera.
You played right into their hands, letting Birdsworth out with Mr. Andrews.
Are you suggesting that it was my fault?
I'm not suggesting anything. I know how these women think. And I also know that they seem to manipulate male officers too easily.
Letting Lizzie carry a few pots to the car is hardly being manipulated.
Well, she's not here, is she?
I think we need to make a decision. Miss Bennett is right. The prison will have to be searched thoroughly. I want Birdsworth found as soon as possible. If she's not found by morning, then I'm afraid we have no choice but to notify the police.
Hey, I'm a pedestrian, you know. You ought to be more careful. Shouldn't be allowed, I reckon. Hey, you know what? I'm going to see Sid. Sidney Humphrey's his real name, but I'm allowed to call him Sid. He had a stroke. They put him in a home. I'm going down to cheer him up. You know what? I haven't been in the country for years. I love buses, don't you? Beauty! Here I come, Sid.
No sign of her amongst the bookshelves?
No. I didn't expect to find her. The library was locked when we left.
Well, I wonder how the others have done. If the women are hiding her, it won't be easy.
Has this happened before?
Well, not with Lizzie. But there have been times when we've lost a prisoner for a while.
The whole environment of prison amazes me. I had no idea what I was letting myself in for.
It amazes and frightens a lot of people, but there are compensations.
I haven't struck too many of those so far.
Georgie Baxter?
That's true. Have you seen her since her release?
Yes, I was down there this morning. It was a bit of a worry, actually. I called at this address she gave me. You should have seen the place.
I can imagine.
But she wasn't there. So I thought that she'd let us down, so I went down to the supermarket to apologise to the personnel manager. And there she was, neatly dressed, working very hard and looking happy.
Do you think it'll last?
Yes, I think it will.
Well, that's great. Staff room. Yes, she is.
Hello?
Find her yet?
No.
Well, where else can we look?
We've covered it pretty thoroughly.
Now, B. Smith insists that the women don't know a thing.
Well, I could believe that if I could see any possible way of her getting out of here.
What about the drainage system that they used for that big escape?
No, that's all been covered up. Besides, after her last experience, I doubt if she'd go within a mile of the place. Do you want a coffee?
Yes, please.
How do you have it?
Black, no sugar?
Vera, could you do me a favour?
Of course.
Well, that was Bob on the phone. He's got some important clients home and he wants me there. The trouble is I'm rostered on night shift. I was wondering if you could do it for me.
Well, I'm not doing anything else, so I might as well.
Thank you. Jim, is it all right if Vera does my night shift? Bob wants me to entertain.
Well, the gay social life, eh?
Oh, hardly. Just boring old clients, I think.
You happy to do a double shift, Vera?
It wouldn't be the first time.
All right, I'll roster you on later in the week.
What an exciting prospect.
The horse was doing brilliantly till we got to the last fence. She came at it quite fast and then suddenly just planted her feet. There was nothing I could do. I just sailed straight over the top and landed on the other side.
Really?
No damage done. But she just wouldn't take that fence. We were disqualified by the timekeeper.
Excuse me.
Well, hello. Where did you spring from?
I've come to see Mr. Sidney Humphrey.
Well, I'm sorry. That's not possible.
Oh, I've come a long way, you know.
Well, Sid's gone out for a couple of days. He's staying with his son at Wombalano. It's his birthday today.
Sid's birthday?
69, I believe.
Oh, I missed him.
Are you a relative?
No, he just used to come and see me when I was in... When me old ticker was crook, see?
Old friends, are you?
Yeah, Sid and me's real good friends. I'm sorry I missed him. When he comes back, you tell him old Lizzie was here and she was sad that she missed him. And say, happy birthday.
Poor old chook. She's had a couple too many, I'd say. I hope she's not driving.
I hope not.
Well, it's catch-22, isn't it?
How do you mean?
Well, on the one hand, if we notify the police and she turns up under B. Smith's pillow or wherever, then we're going to look very foolish. On the other hand, if I don't and it turns out to be a genuine escape, then we're going to look very inefficient.
She's still in here, Mrs. Davidson, I'm sure of it.
I'm inclined to agree with you.
No, I think the women have got some scheme or other, probably involving Lizzie turning up after dark. A tight watch would pick her up.
All right, let's work on that assumption. I want all security gates, every door and room in the place locked. Then if she does appear, she won't be able to move.
I'll get onto it right away.
Thank you. Oh, and if she hasn't appeared by morning, then we'll have to think again.
Well, that's the lot. Except for one thing.
Yes?
Have a nice time.
And you too.
What's that?
Settles. I said it says that you.
Can I help you?
69 today, 69 today. Not half as old as me, you know. I'm 72. Oh, I'm a much older woman.
I thought you were going home.
I was. But the pub got in my way. Right in front of me was. I couldn't even see the bus stop.
Where do you live?
Oh, a long way away.
Did you come by bus?
Are you a doctor?
I'm Dr. Evans.
How do you do? I'm Mrs. Elizabeth Birdsworth.
It's getting late, Mrs. Birdsworth. What are you going to do?
I don't know. I missed the bus. Hey, do you reckon Sid's son would put me up?
I couldn't say.